Hey everybody, I thought I'd take a look at chapter 13 for us and talk a little bit about some of the stuff in there. A lot of it's pretty self-explanatory, but what I did is put together a fake data set so we can see what's going on. And the first thing they talk about is a density plot, and those are pretty nice. And you can track that over a histogram, and it's very lovely. And you can do that in R. So I brought in my fake data set, and so you bring in you bring in your data, you draw your histogram, and you make one change. You put in frequency equal false, FREQ equal false, and make sure you put in false in capital letters. And then you put in lines, open parentheses, density equals, and then the XY referring to the data name. And it superimposes the density onto the top. So that tracks that. It adds up to 1, which is as it should be. So you can see that this follows a fairly decent symmetric distribution. Now one thing, and they didn't really mention this, that the density along with the histogram, it tracks the data. So if your data isn't symmetric, your histogram won't be, nor will your density estimate. So kind of think about that when you're drawing these. Okay? And they talk about the 68, 95, 99 rule. And if you want to do this, if you want to be a slacker like I am and do it by hand, on this data set, if I wanted to find out how much was between plus and minus 2 standard deviations, what I would do is put in the mean of the data set minus 2 standard deviations, and I would get the lower value, the 231. Then I'd put in the mean plus the 2 standard deviations and get the 746, and that would tell me that excuse me, that 95% of the data falls between the 231.3 and the 746.7. Okay? And finally, they mentioned this towards the end of the section. You can always get your percentiles. Again, you don't have to calculate them. You can just use R. You use a function called quantile. You put in the data set name, and then you put in the one that you're looking for. In this case, I just arbitrarily picked 33. So you put in prob equal to 0.33, and it gave me my value back. It may or may not be in the actual data set, but it tells you where to look. In this case, 409.34. And that's all there is to it. Thanks.